All right.
Peace, family. My name is Caleb Smith. I'm a journalist, creative, and studio owner.
Diversified game. Learn how to start, run, and sustain your business.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, we only want to give you stories on how people started, sustain, and succeed in what you do. This gentleman, I really think you're going to watch his tracker, and he'll be at over 100,000 subscribers. He'll be over, millions, and then getting to the billions of views very shortly because he is pushing quality content. Go over, look in the links in the description. I know most of you are listeners. Come over to YouTube when you're done driving and check it out. But he's in studio. Kellen, what's going on, my bro? How you doing today?
Man, hey, what's going on with you, Kellen, bro? Man, I appreciate you greatly, man, for your time. And then too, bro, man, I appreciate you for also pushing me as well. I got to give you your flowers too, man. I know sometimes with scheduling things like that, it can be crazy. But man, talking to you, I was like, hey, I got to get this right ASAP, man, because seeing everything that you're doing. So, man, I appreciate you as well for everything.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. We're just here to serve, and that's what we do. And I've been able to,
Hmm.
hey, if you've ever worked a real job and then you can get paid from doing what you're doing and doing what I'm doing, you just thank God and say, thank you that I don't have to anymore say bathroom break boss like Morgan Freeman in Shawshank Redemption.
No,
You know,
facts.
yeah. So, we can get in that we can get money. And I love that A's hat. I told you. I love that
Hmm.
outcast in the back. You guys remember Big
Yeah,
Rube on them tracks
yeah,
who would
yeah.
give some interludes? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
yeah. So you have this YouTube, 3 million.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, where'd the name come from? When did
Yeah.
you start it? And did anybody give you any money to start this, or did you just start it because this is what you needed to do?
Yeah, man. So the name that came from after college, graduated from Georgia State University, located here downtown Atlanta. I majored in journalism. And after school, I remember most of the jobs, whether it was like a Fox 5 or like hard news, that wasn't me because I felt like I couldn't be creative. And you're told to talk about hard news. And I just thought it was boring to talk about an old lady's cat being stuck in the tree and just trying to cover a 5 o'clock segment. I just felt like, okay. But yeah, man. So after school, me and my friends, we got together post graduation of, hey, how can we build our own platform? So at the time, it was myself and two co-hosts, and it was three of us. I couldn't come up with a name. So one of the co-hosts said, okay, three millennials, right? At first, I thought it was trash, and then we just shortened that to 3 milli. And then from there, I said, okay, so 3 milli, that's cool, 3 milli podcast. And from there, let's create our own production company where everything is just straight vertical integration, where we produce our own content. And then from us producing our own content, other people, they'll see that we can build our own clientele. Eventually, one day, have a studio where we film our own content in there, but then also we can provide that same service for fellow creatives all throughout the city. So started that, man, and that was I believe 2020. So it was late 2019, early 2020. And that had started, it had launched off, and then that was February 2020, like when we really started filming a lot. And then COVID happens, as you know, in March. So once COVID happened, my co-host kind of fell off. So then it basically just fell on me. So it was just myself and my girlfriend Sid. And from there, Sid, she used to edit me and my friends' projects in college. And after that, Sid, she had sat me down and she told me, Caleb, hey, you can hold this down on your own. And she told me I'll edit everything, like we'll make it look good. And man, from there we started going on Instagram Live. We would screen record it and chop up that screen recording and make it look good for YouTube and post the full interview on YouTube. So we would go on live on Instagram during COVID, screen record those interviews, post it on our YouTube channel. So then over time, man, we just started growing. Monetary wise, to your point, when it comes to building the funds, all of those things, everything is all self-funded. So, I was working and tell people, like what people say, hey, your 9 to 5 is your first investor. So I would go to work, save the bread, keep stacking fund what I had going on. So whether that was getting the microphones, whether that was finding dope videographers in the city to work with, Sid, she needed editing softwares, all of those things. So we just kept going, all being self-funded from there.
I love that. Tell people. what did you study in school? You know, you went to a big school, Georgia
Yep.
State.
Yep.
Right now, people are thinking, going back to school, thinking, is this going to work out for me? I know I
Yeah.
got my grad degree in Mass
Yep.
Comm, and I tell people, don't go to school for Mass Comm. You can learn that
Yeah,
on your own. But
for sure.
how was your path?
Man, at Georgia State, it was so unique because again, it's like a honorary HBCU. Georgia State graduates the most Black students in the country. A lot of people don't know that. And we have Black professors everywhere. And I minored in African American studies because I love history and especially Black history. So I was just getting this Blackness overload when it came to knowledge of self from all my professors. And then when it came to on a media aspect, if you can think of all the dope media platforms, they were buzzing back then. And this was between from 2015 all the way up to 2019. And I was able to get internships at Black owned podcast studios to where I learned how to run a studio. So then I was able to create my own after college. And man, from those experiences, and I remember great professors, Black professors showing us that media and journalism doesn't have to be this nerdy white thing. You can still be cool, you can still be fly, you can still cover music, you could cover culture, you could even talk about Black history. So being exposed to those things changed my entire spectrum on what I thought media and journalism was. So I know for a fact, man, that I've been blessed to be born and raised in Atlanta and to also go to college in Atlanta because I know if I didn't go to Georgia State, I would have had a completely different mass comm experience. And I would have thought of it in this aspect of working for somebody and also doing hard news, opposed to, hey, you can tell stories, you can do it in a cool, innovative way. Even as we see the Joe Buddens of the world as well, just disrupting the space. And now we see a complex media trying to be cool. We see all these platforms now trying to do more digital media things opposed to doing the traditional hard news format. So being exposed to these ideas and these concepts even back then was something that just blew me away. And then one more quick tidbit too. Hip hop trivia is a real big thing here in Atlanta. It's a very fun event. It happens, well, back then it used to happen on Wednesday nights, and it was a bar located right across from our dorms where hip hop trivia used to happen. My professor at the time, Professor Christopher Daniel, he worked for, I think, Atlanta Magazine, and he used to cover musicians all the time. So he used to bring us with, or we used to have to go with him for extra credit. So we used to stack up extra credit points. We used to tag along with him, and he would tell us, "Hey, hip hop trivia every Wednesday night. Y'all got to pull up." We pulled up. Brandon Peters, he's from the Bay, dope journalist. Brandon, he works for Red Bull now. He does their whole media. And he, during that time, he worked for Playboy. And he would cover artists, musicians, all these things. And being exposed to Brandon Peters, a dope young Black journalist during that time. Maurice Garland, his co-host of Hip Hop Trivia, dope journalists too. They exposed me, man, to so much. So you would see celebrities there. You would see other journalists. You will see so many different people, man, every single Wednesday night. And being exposed to that showed me media, especially Black media. That's where it's at. So, yeah.
Hello, everyone. Join us on an exciting journey with Explore the World Cameroon. London and Sydney go take you explore Cameroon, the heart of Africa. Experience the vibrant culture, nature, and traditions from Yaoundé market to rainforest adventures. Every page na new discovery. Join the Cameroonian food, music, and wildlife with our explorers. This book na true celebration of Cameroon spirit. Get your copy now. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and through your library and bookstores via Ingram's Park. Don't miss this adventure.
And that's why I like telling these stories, because you say Mass Comm was your undergrad, right? That's what you studied.
Yes, sir.
Would you recommend a student now to study Mass Comm or just to start and study on their own? Given the fact that now if a student goes to, I'm thinking about that Playboy, it's throwing me off a little bit. Nowadays, you can't bring those students around that without getting canceled. It's like, you treat adults like kids still. But would you recommend that 19-year-old, that 17-year-old right now saying, look, should I go into Mass Comm? Should I stay here? Or what would be your advice?
Man, that's such a great question, brother, because man, me and my friends, we have this same debate all the time. And I firmly believe it depends on the school that you go to, right? So being in Atlanta, you can get, all right, especially now, right? You got Big Facts Podcasts over here, 85 South Show. You got so many cool platforms that once you come here, especially to a Georgia State, a Clark Atlanta, a Morehouse, you can instantly get a good internship at these platforms, at the radio station. So then you can start cultivating those great relationships. So then even while you're still in school, you could also be working those jobs. But if you're somewhere, let's say Oklahoma, or if you're like in the middle of nowhere and it's not like a top 5, top 10 market, that's a completely different conversation. But what I would say is I would minor in Mass Comm and major in something else. So just in case if Mass Comm, if that doesn't work out, you can then fall back on something, whether that's engineering, whether that's nursing, whether you're doing med school, any of those things. I would major in something else that's way more tangible that you know for a fact after school, I have a job in this field, opposed to majoring in Mass Comm right now, especially now, man, because even when I graduated in May of 2019, this landscape has changed drastically to where you can really be self-sufficient. To your point, I remember, man, my last semester, we finally had podcasting as a class. I was blessed to be over at the podcast department at my school newspaper. I was able to be super active. However, we didn't get a podcasting course until my senior year. And our professor was an old white lady who asked me and my friends to teach the class. So we were basically coming up with our own PowerPoints, teaching the class, all of that stuff, which showed me, man, she's just here for the check. But now I already know, like, podcasting, those kids are experts at that because they've been doing this since middle school at this point. So yeah, I would just minor in it at this point right now.
And I had a similar story. Professor Dr. Murray, he said, "Hey, you know how to build a website?" And he said, "I read the book, but I don't have a website that I can really show the class that I'm proud of." And I love Dr. Murray because he allowed me to teach that class, part of my grad assistantship for some of the time. And those, no matter where you go, but the fact that you knew what you wanted and then you were in a great market. If you're not in a great market, people, like I wasn't, Rambling's not a great market for any type of internship. It makes you be resourceful. So I'll tell you off air some things that we built that we only had like Yahoo Music and Live 365 as competition. But I want to focus on what you're doing now because I'm seeing the greatness. I'm seeing the interviews. You're in a great area. Talk about how it was to book that first big interview. You are welcome. And who was it?
Man, let me think. I'll probably say my first big interview was Reza when I was an intern at Live Hip Hop Daily. That was my internship. Shout out to my man H, where it was a podcast studio. So during that time period, it was my junior and senior year of college. So I was basically overrunning like day-to-day operations at the studio. So, and then by me doing that, so all the kids that's tuning in, by me going in there every single day, in between class, before class, after class, in between, blessing my butt every day, coordinating for other people's shows, producing other people's shows, doing the editing, the social media, even picking up bottles for guests when I had to get drinks for the parties, had to find a weed man sometimes, doing just crazy missions. Doing that.
That was on the rider. We got to let them know that was on their rider. What they want is what they want.
Hey, intern, go get it. Figure it out. Figure it out. So, man, doing all of those things, right? The owner of the studio, H, he saw that. His camera team, they saw that. So then once I was only 2 months in, they were like, "Hey, Caleb, we already have this show. It's a podcast. We filmed this. One of our shows that we produce on Sundays. One of our main hosts needs a new co-host, and you would be perfect for that role." And I was like, dang. So just from putting in that work, I was able to get towards that brand new role. So doing that, I would say once I was 6 months in, I'm flowing. And I was like, hey, we should start contacting guests. And I remember Reza was like top of my list. And I contacted Reza, and we booked them. So doing that was a really dope experience, just seeing like how that process goes, how to stay in touch with them. But that was really, really fun. And we had a great conversation. And now 5 years later, Reza, he just came back to the platform again, and he remembered that. And he just called me last month randomly, like, "Hey, Caleb, I just touched down. I know it's been a minute, but hey, I'm in Atlanta. You were the first person who I thought about." So that showed me how you treat people. They'll never forget that. So yeah, man, Reza, he was my first big guest, and now he's back years later.
Oh man, that's a blessing. And once you get that first big interview, you got that confidence knowing you can do it and you can do it again.
Exactly.
Since you're in Atlanta, totally can't wait for you to get Ray Daniels on the show.
Man, I've been trying to contact Ray, man. Ray hasn't been Ray is the only person that I've contacted that hasn't really hit me back like that. I've been trying to contact Ray.
We got to see. I'm trying to think. We'll see if he.
Yeah.
I think Ray, especially if you go after his tote and carry advertisers, he'll come running. I love Ray's show. I love Ray's show. I've made a video.
Same.
Yeah, the stuff that he's giving could get somebody blacklisted out of the industry because they don't want
to.
Yeah,
for free. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and people say for free, well, he's doing it so he can make money, but it's almost like, especially when he first came out, he was doing it like, hey, if I'm not here anymore, let me give you all the keys.
Right.
And this is somebody who, when, being behind the scenes, you're not supposed to say certain things. And I've heard, to this day, my mentors tell me, you don't have to always let them know everywhere you go. Right. And I'm like, no, we don't let them know because we want them to go. That's the game.
That's right.
We want to bring people to Africa. We want to bring people to Asia, Mexico. Come on, man.
That's right.
What with the budget? Because someone's out there right now thinking, I don't have much. I don't have a nice studio. I don't know how much it would cost, but I know I ain't got it. And they'll look at your success and the beautiful set that you have. Was it you were working? How much did it take for you to put the studio together? And then do you rent the studio out, and who can rent it?
Yes. So the studio is open to all creative. So a day like today, right? Before doing field, one of our clients came in, had the space from 9 a.m. until 2 o'clock, 2:15. We host fellow creatives who come in here. We're like a one-stop shop. So basically you sit down, we have our own staff of videographers, photographers, everything. So you come in, if you have a dope idea concept, we sit down with you, consultation first, that's already included. And then step 2 is the rental. Our space, we only charge $99 per hour. Me and my team, our biggest thing that like we always say is Frank Lucas effect, right? We're going to have the best product at the cheapest price, best customer service at the cheapest price. So then, man, from there, our clientele has just been able to grow immensely every single year. So yeah, creatives, man, they come in here to host their podcasts. We host events. We host mixers, all of that. So it's pretty much just like a cool creative hub where they could come in. When it comes to money and budgeting, man, I tell people, man, I work. So people get this like illusion when they see people on social media that they just got it. No, 9 times out of 10, those people are still hustling just like you. So, man, I tell people, man, when you first start off with your podcast, you can just do it on Zoom. Even if you want a Shure mic, or if you want to get the new smaller Shure mics that's only for 200, 250, or just anything, you can do that. Just break it down. So, man, what I would say first off, just make sure that you get you a good microphone, a good soundboard that you can get for cheap as well. You can go to Guitar Center, you can go on Amazon, YouTube University. It doesn't take a large amount of money. For me, I remember, man, starting out, I remember we had started with my girlfriend's father as a potential business partner. And during that time, we were subleasing from him, and we had put in, I would probably say at least $5,000 of just being young and dumb and overspending, which people don't tell you. That is a big thing in business too. Like, man, when you first start out and you first try to do things, you can overspend. So we were overspending on microphones, on lighting, all of those things. However, it lasted us because everything that we bought still lasts, whether it's the cameras, microphones, all that stuff. But for any person that's just now starting out, start with a good modest budget of anywhere between $200 to $500. Then from there on Zoom, just build that platform up. You can go on Zoom, you can record those conversations. Beauty of it is once you're done, it's already saved. Build your platform up, start to flow some money. Every single time that you get paid, just allocate, treat it just like church. Just break yourself off 10 to 20% and put that towards savings. So then whether you want to go to a nice studio and rent that out from time to time, you can do that now. So then you don't have to worry about buying all the crazy equipment. When it comes to even doing that, I tell people, even our clients, learn how to film some episodes on Zoom, even during those times of booking studio time. So then you don't have to spend so much every single month on studio rentals. Instead, you can do 2 Zoom interviews a month and then maybe 2 hours of studio time. So now you got 2 in-persons a month, 2 Zooms a month. Save $1, man. I always tell people that. So no, it doesn't take this crazy amount. And man, nowadays, especially if you're in Atlanta, Chicago, if you're somewhere in Texas like Houston or Dallas, if you're in New York, especially if you're in Orlando, in Florida or even South Florida, Miami, there are plenty of podcast studios now. So yes, man, you can go to the studios, but step one, start filming on Zoom. So then you can build up your audience. You can start practicing of being on camera, all the good stuff. So then when you do go in studio, you already got all that confidence built. So yeah.
You gave some real game, and I hope you guys might have to rewind that back when he said $99. That price point, I mean, I'm in Palm Beach County, and things, the more south you go, can get cheaper, but that's a great price point, and a price point I'm going to share with somebody who, when I do need a studio, I rent out to them. But I tell you, if it's 6 times the price for the time. So
Yeah.
I love that. I love it.
Thank you.
When you think about, the business and growing and blowing, I know you have a team. How did you learn how to manage the finances? So many people start businesses, but we have so many clients, and they'll come and they'll say, I've never managed a budget this big. And it could be, it could be $10,000. They've never managed 10,000. It could be a lot more too. But how did you learn that part? Was it in school? Was it a girlfriend, mother, auntie? Who?
Yeah, man. I would say my pops for sure, and my grandmother and my grandfather. Man, seeing my grandma and my grandfather do very well when it comes to stocks, and being able to retire at a very young age, and showing me the importance of having a savings account, and how me and all of my cousins basically all have a savings account from my grandparents, and them showing us financial literacy at a very young age, and seeing how my grandmother, she was a sharecropper in rural Georgia, to now she's comfortable, and she's chilling. So seeing that and seeing how she broke that down, my uncle, her son, my mom's brother, he's always been a business owner. His HVAC business is one of the top HVAC businesses for any black owner, and any black or white HVAC business in the whole north or southeast rather. So seeing him build his business since I was a baby, and always running that and having employees, and seeing him do payroll, all of those things. So I guess I was just always around it. Even going to church, man, we had so many cool people. Like Kim would be at our church, the singer Kim. Courtney Seals, who managed 112. His mother used to babysit me and my brother. So being around Courtney Seals and seeing him always be fly and cool, and you see him in the music business. So I guess just being exposed to so many cool black people, I was just always exposed to black people who did well for themselves, and seeing my dad have a beautiful $1 million home growing up, and how he was able to manage his money. So I guess just always seeing that, and him always teaching me as a kid, hey, every single time that you get $2, you save one and spend one. Enjoy yourself, but also save it on the back end too. And man, the biggest thing though, Kellen, I would just say is when it comes to finances and managing a budget, especially for young entrepreneurs, it's trial and error. That's the only way how you're gonna learn. It's just from busting your ass sometimes, and seeing, okay, this didn't work, so I should do it like this. But yeah, man, very last point too. Every single time for young business owners that you get paid, that money's not your money. Your team has to get paid. Make sure that they're taken care of. Make sure that you're putting aside something for your taxes, and also make sure that you're putting something aside for savings. That's really big. So then when it's time to upgrade equipment or upgrade cameras, upgrade infrastructure in your space, or just in your business, anything, you always have those funds to the side. So yeah.
I love it. I love every part of it. And he said savings. I say savings and investment. Get your mutual funds, do your DBT plans, all that. We need you to retire rich. Like he said, his family members, your grandfather was retiring early. That's beautiful. Did any of those people let you work inside the business and do any payroll, or, back in the day when the typewriter, if you're old enough to remember?
Yeah, no, actually, no, man, but I was just around it though, right? So my uncle, right? Let's say that we're at his house for the summer. He would bring us with him. So my brother one time worked for him for a summer, where he showed him, hey, this is how much I get paid. This is how much I pay my workers. This is what I put towards this. But now it's crazy, because being older, me and him will have conversations where he's telling me, hey, my CPA, I pay her X amount, check her out. Or he'll tell me about taxes, or he'll tell me about da 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 da. So now it's crazy of growing up and actually doing it myself and seeing certain things. It's like, so now I have way more questions than I did as a kid, because now I'm starting to go through these things trial by fire. So then once you start going through these things, now you start getting better questions, because now it's like, okay, how do I adjust? How do I pivot properly? But no, like I wasn't really in it to, where I'm doing payroll or handing people paychecks and seeing how things work, but I was still exposed to it to a certain extent.
Okay, no, that's awesome. With the set, the studio, it's like you have
Mhm,
two businesses, probably three, if you really think
mhm.
about everything that you're doing or more. How important do you think is having the studio or having the equipment versus, I mean, you have great guests,
Mhm.
but when you think about what people watch, they'd rather watch somebody say something negative and then retract what they said the next day on the next podcast. And people
Yeah.
are allowing people just to give bad game and contradictions. I guess it's a two-part question. How
Mhm.
important is it to have the studio and the equipment versus
Yeah.
having the right guest? And do you get frustrated saying, I know that Reza Islam interview should be bigger than such and such, because we ain't hating
Yeah.
on nobody, but
Yeah.
Reza was giving things that people could use versus
Yeah.
somebody giving something that is confused.
For sure, man. You were not lying about that, bro. Brick and mortar is so important though, man. And I think for me, I was exposed to that by interning. And that's like a full circle moment, because seeing H at Live Hip Hop Daily, his studio is still open till this day. And he first started his podcast studio back in 2013. That's amazing. That's like Combat Jack era days almost, where you're going that far back. Joe Budden's podcast wasn't even started yet. So to say, I'm from New York, I'm here in Atlanta, and I'm going to open up a podcast studio in downtown Atlanta, and it's still thriving till this day. That takes guts. So brick and mortar, and I know during this time things are way more expensive, inflation, all those things, but it's nothing like having a brick and mortar space, because it's never going to go out of style. People are always going to need a space to film. You're always going to have companies who need functions, whether that's filming, whether that's events, mixers. Creatives always need a hub. Creatives always need a space. So having a space to where they can utilize that space, and not only utilize it, but it can also service them to where they don't have to find sets, or they don't have to find equipment, or when it comes to events, they don't have to worry about small things like having tables, a DJ setup. You have everything that you need. So I think that everybody always needs that. When it comes to the content side, of course, man, like I remember even like months ago, I would get frustrated because you would have great information, great scholars, and sometimes people wouldn't just cling to it. But then if you just keep going at it, if you just keep chucking along, it's going to start hitting. And I think at this moment, Reza's almost at 400,000 views. And that's like our biggest interview till this day. And we were talking about a lot of deep things. And that showed me that, yes, there is a good appetite out there for you. You just have to keep going at it. So all the people that's posting their pods on YouTube or Apple Podcasts, and you're like, yo, I gave that my all. I gave that interview my all. I researched the guest thoroughly. I did everything I was supposed to do. It's gonna come. It may not be there right now. All you're doing is just laying the groundwork. So then once that one does pop, you have an entire library that now people they can play, opposed to just having that one big interview. Now they can say, hey, I love that dude. So let me check out this interview. That's gonna lead them to the next and then to the next one as well.
Okay. And does it ever get, you said you get frustrated,
Yeah.
but that the appetite for, I mean, you've had real scholars on who give people
Thank
stuff that folks would say, I didn't even know who I was.
you.
Does it ever get you ever get to the point where you're not like, I need so and so on here so he can come on here, play his character that he is, does it ever get to that
Charleston
point where,
White,
I
Charleston
mean,
White types.
to whomever, because I
Yeah.
don't know any names, because I love the
Yeah.
game. I
No,
love
I
that
feel you.
somebody can elevate themselves however
Yeah.
they need to without hurting
Nah, for sure.
somebody else, because he's
Facts.
not the only one. Again, I've done this, right? So
Yeah.
I've had people who died on us, and people
Wow.
are like, wait, Kellen, when you do an interview, I
Mm,
won't do an interview about somebody's death that we had, whatever that relationship was. That was the
yeah.
relationship that we had. And I don't think he'd want that. Now, if he wanted it,
Mm,
cool. But we've seen content creators die. So to me, we're like the Egyptians with the hieroglyphics. We're just
whew.
putting our stories down. One day they'll be discovered who needs
Somebody's
to
gonna
be
find it.
discovered.
Come
Yeah.
on now.
Yeah, but and so I don't say names, but does it
Yeah,
ever
of course.
frustrate you, or do you ever say, you know what, I need to get so and so because they're the hottest thing right now, and
Man, I'll tell
Charleston
you,
is one of the hottest right now.
yeah, man, listen, bro. I'll tell you this. Charleston White, I love Charleston White actually. And reason why I said Charleston's name is because people are treating podcasting when it comes to guest selection as like a stimulus package of if I get Charleston or if I get Dr. Umar, then I'm gonna be out of here. Not necessarily. Not necessarily, because yes, those interviews might do well. However, what's gonna happen is the people aren't falling in love with you. So then what's gonna happen once Charleston is gone, once Umar is gone? What are you going to do now? So now you have no skill when it comes to guest selection, when it comes to real journalism. So every single time you got to keep calling those same people back and keep having to recreate that moment, which is way more dangerous opposed to doing it on the slow grind. So man, for me personally, bro, I've never even had that urge because I would rather do it slowly opposed to compromising my platform because people, man, they can find those type of conversations on so many other platforms on YouTube. I would rather give you substance, even if that means that it's going to take longer, because I would rather have quality over quantity any day.
I love it. I was thinking what Charleston would have said to that. See, that's that rich nigga talk right there. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
he
Yeah, Charleston funny, man. Hey, and
yeah.
you gotta love him.
I gotta love everybody because I know who's not my enemy. And
Yeah.
anybody out there making money on content, especially if it's not for me. I read a book a week because of the late
Wow.
great Miles Monroe. That's what he
Wow.
taught us via the YouTube. Read a book a week, your
Wow.
life will be different. Then he said, read
Wow.
2 books a week. When your wife starts, read 2 books. My wife is on 2 to 3 a week. I'm
That's
trying to keep
phenomenal.
up.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah. So I, it's a great thing that this internet is doing. Now you got the studio. You're
Mm-hmm.
right in Atlanta, Black
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood. Are
Yeah.
you tapping in also to the movies? Do they come film the movies there? Tubi is
Mm-hmm.
buying up everything, so everybody now is a director.
Man.
How's it going with that? Do you even want to go in that direction? Because you
Yeah.
got a studio. You could
Yeah,
film
man.
whatever you want.
Bro, Tubi, that is actually a really good point. So I would say time to time, yes, it'll be like movies here and there, but man, you would be surprised. It's a lot of dope creatives where it comes to whether it's filming music videos, whether it's coming to film documentaries, podcasts, simple conversations. Those are way more. Also, man, one big person as well from just moving into our building because we moved to this location last August of last year. But moving into here, Cam Kirk Studios is right above us. We had no idea until we moved here. Cam Kirk is one of the biggest photographers, Black photographers here in America. And seeing how his business is able to run just strictly off of photography and photo shoots. And he says all the time that people thought it was so stupid that it couldn't happen. And it's happening and he's killing it. So man, for us, it's podcasting, it's creatives, and not solely even podcasting, events and mixers. There's so many cool mixers that we host all the time where it's clients who contact us who are hosting R&B jam sessions. We've hosted our own somewhat a tiny desk series called Off the Rip, where we have a live band come in and independent artists from the city come and perform, and they're able to monetize that performance and charge tickets to where people come in. Our last one, it was sold out. So yeah, man, it's just from seeing every person from every type of walk of life being able to book the space. And yeah, so it's fellow creatives who come in who have a variety of ideas. But when it comes to the film sector, that's something that I would love to explore on that more as well.
What is a community give back that you're doing or that you would like to do in the future?
Man, the community. So are you asking like how do they give back to the studio or?
No. As you know, everybody's successful. I believe most people want to give something back, and that could
Right.
be time, that could be a
Oh yeah.
foundation, an academy, a
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you. I got you. Yeah, man. When it comes to like giving back for us, we're trying to make it more of like a bigger thing, but man, we do small things. So let's say that we host an event and it's a caterer who comes every single time, man. We go outside. We are right across the street from Magic City, like literally. So outside of our window, you see Magic everything. But man, homelessness is a really big thing though here in Atlanta, and it's like it's such a paradox of you see Magic City where you see Lotto having Lotto's party across the street, but then you have homeless people right outside. And every
Mm.
single time that we have an event and if there's food, we make sure all the extra food, we go outside to the homeless people and we feed them. and we give them the food. We make sure that we're giving them water, that we're talking to them. And then, man, as well, internship programs. We're really big on that over here. So just now, two of our interns just left, but we make sure that we have a good pipeline program to where interns, whether they're at Georgia State, AUC, where they can come. We're 2 minutes from Georgia State, 2 minutes from Clark, Morehouse, all of that. To where in between classes, you come over here, you get your class credits, you get an actual hands-on internship program. So then when it's time for you to apply for those jobs, you already have experience. And then as well, you're getting class credits. And that came from me being at state and having trouble finding a good, cool internship. Our options at the time, man, we couldn't even go to the black radio stations because they wouldn't approve of it. So it was either CNN or you had to find something. And everything on that list, I kid you not, man, I had called me and my friends over 50 of those internships on that piece of paper. They were all expired or they had moved, they had shut down. So I had to find my own internship, which came to talking to Brandon Peters from Hip Hop Trivia. He was like, yo, I got something for you, Caleb, Live Hip Hop Daily. I filmed my podcast over there. Talked to my main man H, who owns the studio, and I was able to get my internship approved. And from there, talking to H, being around him for years, made me say, hey, I got to do that for the next generation. So, bro, giving back internship program, that's really big for us over here.
And let me just explain to the audience, this is why they say, show me your friends, and, you know, your network is your net worth. Because while he's telling me this, I'm over here and I just sent one of my team members in Atlanta for her daughter, who is at state, I believe, and say, look, there's an internship. Raru, check this out. Hot chocolate, you know, media. Check this out.
Wow. That's awesome. Hey, send her over here, man. We got her. We got her. It's no worries at all, man. She'll love it.
My job is always to do connection. We do management, and it's just, you know, I know her daughter has been busy since she was like 13, right? Working because she wanted to be in this industry. And I'm like, are you sure, you know, you want to be in this industry? Because I think it's sometimes a boo-boo business. You're dealing with people with inflated heads. Like you said, you got Lotto and her team having a great time, and nobody sees these people. And I know what somebody will say, oh, well, those people want to be homeless, or those people, you know, it can be, they want to be homeless because they've given up on life and they don't know how to get back. And it takes people to lift a hand. I mean, the homeless have my phone number. And if we're being honest, Mr. Smith, you know, LL's, I say, nephew, if we're being honest, the what it takes to make somebody who's given up on themselves to believe in themselves again is more than money. And it's not an easy thing when people have given up. I do this every week. See somebody, you want a job? Sometimes they can't take it. And it's like, dang, like life is over at 22, at 25, but at 44 and 45, people, it's really hard. It's like the movie They Live with Rowdy Piper, man. You got to have the magic glasses Dick Gregory was talking about.
Yeah.
So that, you know, we have all these riches and anybody should be able to have their party. But the fact that we got all these homeless people, it's a dang shame because people needed opportunity. And you know what? Some of those people are college graduates.
A lot.
And they're not all drug addicts. They're not all of them. There are some, but they're not all drug addicts. So I work with the least of these population with my own just personal being. Forget what I do for a living. I want everybody to win. That's why I left you the message I left you, and I said, no, you know, and we ain't I'm not going to talk in detail about that because that's off air, and this isn't Vlad TV. Talking about stuff behind the scenes with Vlad. You know, there's a space for Vlad as well. And I just want to know, you know, you got the internships. What can the community do to help you besides just watching, sharing, commenting, and liking? What else can we do for you globally?
Yeah, man, circulate dollars, bro. I tell people that, man. We have to support Black-owned media. We have to support Black-owned brick and mortars. Man, it's huge. And I would say, especially those that's actively giving back to the community, providing substance to the community. So many times, especially now, this economy, you'll see so many businesses closing down, and it's people who have billion-dollar ideas, especially when it comes to Black entrepreneurs. However, when it comes to funding, we're always last when it comes to funding for a very particular reason, because we know and they know once we get access to those funds, what we'll do with it, because we've already done that before. But yeah, man, I would just say circulate dollars, um, provide what you can do with us. So whether you're a great caterer, hit us up, man. So then when we're hosting events, you can make money. Whether you're a DJ, a photographer, videographer, we can build our own ecosystem where people are exchanging ideas and commerce. And then two over here, one thing that I love seeing is anytime that we're hosting mixers, or I've seen to where we'll be hosting our like R&B jam sessions, things like that, to where I would see a photographer meeting a videographer and them exchanging information and bartering services. And I think that that's something that's often overlooked. Like, what if we just barter sometimes? Because sometimes you're way more valuable opposed to just keeping it at a very transactional level. I could be more valuable to you if I could just barter with you sometimes. And of course, I'm not saying all the time, but when it comes to certain projects and things like that, we can always collaborate opposed to us always being separate. So yeah, man, just exchanging ideas, commerce, and just fully supporting each other. I would say that for sure.
And last question, and this be the teachable moment. How do you deal with interviewing guests that you may not necessarily agree with or everything that they're saying, or you might see something in their life and say, "Oh man, that guy was just playing a character," And I mean on the intellectual, like, I'm Guru Baba so and so, and then you see them, maybe outside talking about keep your body healthy, but they vaping and got the Bible, right? They might be taking some meth. Who knows? Or you hear something of them being crazy in Africa and, impregnating women that were much younger than them. I'm talking about somebody right now, but I didn't say a name. But if they ever watch this clip, they'll know. And you've interviewed them too. But
yeah, bro.
But
yeah, man. I would just say for those type of people, after the show, I got to ask you to find out who it is exactly. But yeah, man, I would just say treat it just like, when you watch the news growing up. That's journalism. You don't have to agree with a person's lifestyle 100%. You don't have to agree with their ideology 100%. I think if you do, that creates a very dull conversation. And I just think in those moments, I'm just having a conversation. I tell people all the time, I'm not trying to sway you to the left or to the right or even in the middle. I just want to make you think. I just want to challenge what we believe in or what you believe in and provide a different perspective. And then from there, you decide. Like on the Matrix, you decide if you want the red pill or the blue pill. Like, that's up to you. However, though, I want for you and for myself and for all of us to share a collective experience of being exposed to information. And of course, people are faulty. So it'll be certain people that you see that may not be the best representative. However, though, how can we still have a great and a good, meaningful conversation that could lead towards tangible solutions? But yeah, man, like I can't even get frustrated or get mad or feel disappointed because I can't get my hopes up, because that's a whole nother human being. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm just here just to have a good conversation, maintain journalistic integrity, and I'm not coming in with a certain agenda. However, I'm just coming in to challenge you, ask you as good of questions as I possibly can, which can lead to the best conversation possible.
You guys have gotten the game. He has a YouTube channel, Milli Productions. He's interviewed some of the people that I've interviewed, and I need those interview numbers to go up, like Christian The Truth Jones. That man young man is a genius.
Yeah. He's solid, man.
Yeah. The fact that he doesn't have his own network, and Charlemagne, and I know Charlemagne, like Oprah, we can't rely on them to do everything, but this young man has been doing it since he's 8 years old.
Yeah.
Somebody should have uplifted him.
Hey, he's grown now, man. Like in 4 years, he's already playing football. He's swole. I'm like, man, that's crazy. He hit a crazy growth spurt.
Yeah, he did. And that's why I like him. Because like, man, I remember what, I love the truth. And but you've had so many on Dr. Kaba, folks giving real game, real history, living what they said. And so I want you guys to go check that stuff out. Like, share, do all that stuff. Go on the website, book some sessions at the studio if you're in Atlanta or visiting. Let's make this business grow. I promise you, he'll see 100,000 subscribers soon. Guaranteed.
Hey, man, listen, brother, I appreciate the conversation, the questions, everything, all the great energy too, man. I appreciate you greatly.
Man, appreciate you. Blessings, you guys. If you do nothing else, after liking, sharing, commenting, wherever you experience this, please share this game with somebody. It will change their life. Be blessed, y'all.
Are you tired of the violence, tired of the injustice, police brutality, rampant discrimination, lack of gun control in this failed bias socioeconomic experiment called America? Or maybe you need a break from the relentless grind and want to regain control of your destiny, your wealth, your health, and your purpose. DiversifiedGame.com has the right course for you. Prepare for my first trip to Africa. Looking to reconnect with your roots, start a new business, or just a fresh start. Africa, aka the motherland, is waiting. Don't let the Chinese and the Mzungus have the fun and also take over the motherland. From Cairo to Mombasa, from Dakar to Cape Town, Africa has something for everyone, from business opportunities to the most amazing people, safety, leisure, and landscapes. The opportunities abound. It is time for the diaspora to reconnect with their roots. Time to reconnect with the birthplace of humanity. Africa is the last frontier. Get your head in the game and reclaim your legacy. The writing is on the wall. Babylon is falling. Give up the stress, grind, and violence inflicted on our people on this continent and prepare for a journey of restoration and joy by connecting with the land of your ancestors. Check out our new course and kick off your adventure at diversifiedgame.com.